This is Markin Out. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. We marking out, y'all. Follow on Twitter. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. We marking out, y'all. Marking Out. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. We marking out, y'all. Brennan likes fisting. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. We marking out, y'all. We're marking out. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans.
Welcome to Markin Out, Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. This is episode 746. Thanks for listening. Make sure that you are checking us out at markinout.com, on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and wherever else you are listening to your podcast. Please give us a 5-star rating to go with that 5-star frog splash. And of course, buy a t-shirt, prowrestlingtees.com/markinout. Give us a like on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram at markinout11. You can also follow us on Twitter at markinout and on TikTok at markinout. You can follow me on all social media platforms at DavidPTDPT. You can follow Chris at Chris Sweendog on Twitter and CMSweeney85 on Instagram. And also follow Brandon at BTTG161. Hey, Brandon, how are you?
I'm doing awesome as always. How about yourself?
I am doing, fantastic. What did you do this week?
Not much. I went to Carvel, got my free birthday cone. I got the lemon berry crumble. Even though I don't like lemon, I don't like blueberry. But it was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Costco sells a loaf cake of that flavor. And to me, that's overpowering. But this I thought was nice. It reminded me kind of like a cheesecake, probably because of the lemon. And I think if they did like a full cake of this with the vanilla crunchies in the middle, it'd be a nice summer cake.
Mm-hmm.
But that's about it. How about yourself?
My week has been very, very good. It is flying by, and before you know it, I'm going to be on a plane heading over to Tokyo. So, looking forward to that. Going to be flying ANA, head from JFK over to HND Airport, and from there, going to go head over to Kyoto, spend my birthday in Kyoto. Then we're going to go to... Which birthday is this? Like 52, I think.
Probably.
Soon I'm going to be cashing in on my senior citizens discount. Then Osaka. And then from Osaka, going to go to Tokyo to remain for the rest for a conference over there, the World Physiotherapy Congress, where I will be presenting a poster presentation over there. I have a few friends that are presenting, so... We're all going to head over to Tokyo, Japan after that. Remain there for about a week, give or take. Just less than a week, I believe. And it's going to be great. I am going to try to get over to the Tokyo Dome. Where else should I go, Brandon?
Everywhere. Everywhere. Literally everywhere.
I've been everywhere, man.
I would want to go to Disneyland. I would want to go so many places. Obviously, you're not going to be going to Disneyland, but...
Yeah. The thing is, we thought about going there. We thought about going to the Disneyland, but it just wasn't going to be worth it. Because as much fun as it would be, there are a lot of lines over there. And even for the food, there's a lot of lines. And I just can't justify spending an entire day of being in Tokyo at Disney. I can't justify it, especially because I know I'm going to get a lot of flack. But I could go to Orlando. Next year.
It's not quite the same, but...
I know. Next year, I'm going to Disneyland in California. For CSM. So, February. So, really, I don't know. I feel like for my first time going there, I'd rather explore the surrounding area of Tokyo and culture and stuff like that. I could always take another flight back to Japan to solely do Disney. Plus, if I did Disney, it would be after the conference. And I have a feeling that after the conference and towards the end of the trip, I'm going to be so fried.
You
like,
have to
Brandon,
go,
you know me.
You need to go to wrestling sites while you're in Japan. That's like without a shadow of a doubt. You can't waste that. So
Yeah,
we'll find
you
out
know me
next
too
week's
well.
episode. David's not going to be here. I'll be here myself, and then the week after that, we'll find out all about his Japanese adventures. And
Yes,
have our fingers crossed.
I have
that we
to do
a bumper from.
I have to do TikTok videos, or else Brandon's gonna fire me.
Yeah.
I have to do TikTok videos, or else I'm legit going to get fired. Maybe I'll take us live on Instagram
Oh, what?
from Tokyo, from the Tokyo Dome.
Is that a thing we can do? I can go live
Yeah.
on our TikTok, That's something
You can
people
go
would
live
love
on
to do.
Instagram.
People would love to go live on TikTok. We have the ability to do that.
True. Yeah, very true. Very true. But
So-
looking forward to it. Going to be a blast. And yeah, talking about a blast, let's get on to some of the chatter about Monday Night Raw.
Which opened up with Logan Paul. And he said that he's going to beat Jey Uso for the championship at Saturday night's main event. He hit a bunch of facts on us, like one Tyson Kidd used to do. I don't know if that's where he got it from or not, but it was nice to hear.
I don't
promo
remember.
Like that. Oh man, that was one of the best things. They would be like, I think Cesaro did it too with him.
They were a tag team, right?
They would list stuff, and then Tyson Kidd would be like, fact. And then in my head, both of them are doing fact at the same time, so I don't know if that's necessarily something that happened. But Gunther interrupted. He put Logan Paul over, kind of. And he said Logan becoming champion would be great for business, but it's personal to him that he takes that title from Jey Uso or anybody. So regardless of who wins, he will. He also said it'll be like disrespectful, I think, if Logan Paul takes the title instead of him. But he said Pat showed heart. Logan Paul doesn't show heart when he wrestles. And if it's him that's facing him in June, then he's going to eat him alive. Logan Paul continued to run his mouth. Jey Uso showed up from behind, knocked him out. We'll put a pin in
This
that.
was nice. I really like that knockout.
Yeah.
Brings it full circle to everything that's happening.
First match of the evening saw the Judgment Day pick up the victory over Penta and AJ Styles. I like that Penta and AJ Styles were matching, both wearing the red, white, black, and that's it, right? Red, white, and black, yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool too, because I know, like, tag team wise, me and you always are fans of the tag teams matching each other.
Not that they're a
So,
tag team
I
or
was really
anything, but they looked like a legit
Yeah.
team, and they worked like a legit team.
I agree. That's what I liked about it. They were a tag team for that night, and they worked well together. But obviously, we know Penta's tag team partner who will be at some point.
Yeah, Carlito got involved multiple times. Honestly, no pun intended here, but that crowd was hot for that hot tag to AJ Styles.
Yeah.
AJ Styles
I feel
had
like
the calf crusher locked in on Finn Balor, and then JD McDonough, he saw JD was coming off the top rope, and he rolled Finn Balor over so Finn can take the splash. I thought that was going to be the end of the match right there.
I thought so too.
And then they
I thought
kept...
so too. What was the finisher what was his finishing submission hold used to be called?
Who?
AJ.
The calf crusher? No? What do you mean?
No, it was something else. I forgot. Side tangent.
I can't think of it. But
Yeah, I can't remember.
But they kept going. El Grande Americano showed up and hit Penta with that headbutt. And then Finn Balor got him back into the ring, hit the coup de grace to pick up the victory.
Yeah. I mean, I was kind of surprised that Judgment Day picked up the victory, but made sense.
Yeah. We saw
sense.
Roxanne Perez pick up the victory over Natalya to qualify for the Money in the Bank ladder match. Becky Lynch and Natalya, I should say. This had a lot of good technical spots, and I liked them even during the match. They made mention that Natty has been appearing recently. She did Bloodsport. She did NWA. And as far as this match goes, I couldn't... Because Becky Lynch was in it, I really couldn't tell who was going to win this.
Yeah, but I'm really happy that Roxanne Perez did win this matchup.
Seeing this match on paper, the only person I wanted to win was Roxanne Perez.
Yeah.
So, and I liked Natty pushing Becky Lynch into Roxanne Perez when Roxanne was on the top rope. It could have been a Tower of Doom spot, but Natty broke away and powerbombed Becky Lynch after that. And then
I like that. I feel like we're getting less Tower of Doom spots.
No, you say that, and then we have one on SmackDown or something like that. It's not. It's not the case. But Natty locked both of them in the sharpshooter. I thought that was always fun to see. And ultimately, Lyra Valkyria prevented Becky Lynch from winning the match. And Roxanne hit Pop Rocks on Natty to pick up that win.
Yeah.
Later on,
the Pop Rocks, I wasn't a big fan of that, though.
Why?
I don't know. It looked a little bit sloppy to me, the Pop Rocks.
Well, later on, you had Finn Balor bring Roxanne Perez into the clubhouse. And he brought up how he's been thinking about what Dom's been saying about needing more members. And he's like, we have each other, but Raquel and Liv don't have backup. So he pitched Roxanne Perez. She got Dominic chicken nuggets, which was a huge topic in the IWC because it wasn't 10 days, even though
oh my goodness,
Dominic has in fact gotten chicken nuggets from Liv Morgan before. And she got Carlito apples, which I thought was really funny because he took the apple out and Raquel smacked it away. So I think maybe he's wearing her down. Mm-hmm. I feel like we're going to see, maybe we'll see some sort of romantic thing there where she's jealous the fact that Roxanne gave Carlito a gift.
I hope we don't.
I don't necessarily need it, but it's been months of them building of Carlito like, hey, what's up? And she's like not open at all, but now Carlito's receiving gifts from somebody else, and now she's like, what? Boom, smack that out of his hand.
What I did love is that Carlito reached back into the bag and pulled out another apple.
Yeah.
Like, I love that he had the first apple smacked down into the ground, and then all he did was reach back into the bag and pull out a new apple.
Yeah.
Like, just comedic genius. But next up, you had Sheamus pick up the victory over Grayson Waller. Grayson Waller online put out a video.
A disgusting video.
South Park video. It was Brandon felt targeted a little bit, but more so Sheamus about him being a ginger, and Grayson Waller just full blown put Sheamus's image within the South Park episode of Cartman singing about gingers or talking about them. I forgot if it was a song.
Yeah, I was talking.
But yeah, Sheamus, he got the victory, and he definitely got his revenge on Grayson Waller.
The fans very much so behind Austin Theory in this match.
Mm-hmm.
I liked when Grayson Waller was chopping Sheamus, and Sheamus was just eating them like a beast. And then he turned Grayson Waller into the corner, starts doing his own chops. Theory accidentally distracted Grayson Waller. And Grayson Waller at one point tried to walk off Austin Theory and was like, you can't do that. And Sheamus grabbed Grayson Waller up and he did the 10 beats of the Battleground, and Austin Theory laughed at that. And then Sheamus hit that big bro kick to win the match.
Yeah, and I thought that this was just fun. I think that the most fun part of this match was just anticipating the chops.
Yeah.
Or, just anticipating those chops coming in.
After that, we saw Rhea Ripley pick up the victory over Kairi Sane. Zoe Stark was also in this match. This was for the Money in the Bank qualifier. I want to say first that it was great to see Kairi back. But unfortunately, Zoe Stark was going for that springboard dropkick that she does, and she blew out her knee.
Yeah, did they release what actually happened to her knee?
No,
what the injury is?
Not yet, at least. So that really sucked.
Yeah, very unfortunate. I don't know what's going. She's going to have such a long recovery ahead of her at least 6 months, because to me, it looked like she tore a few ligaments in the knee.
That was a nasty landing.
Yeah. Hopefully it's a very bad sprain, and it's not an actual tear, but yeah.
The way Zoe Stark tweeted about it, it seems like she's out for a while.
No, I didn't even see her tweet.
She was thanking everybody for reaching out.
Mm-hmm.
But then the actual match that we had Rhea Ripley versus Kairi Sane, which I thought had a lot of good reversals in it. I don't think Rhea Ripley needed to be in the Money in the Bank.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what they have coming up with Kairi, but I would have much rather had seen her be in the match than Rhea Ripley. And I certainly don't like the fact that I have to assume the original plan would have been Zoe Stark eating the pin. But I don't like when somebody returns from an injury and then it's not a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
So who knows what's happening with that. Maybe we'll see Asuka return and we have the Kabuki Warriors take the titles from Liv and Raquel. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like now that, unfortunately, with Zoe Stark, I feel like you have to put somebody else in there now. But I agree with you. I don't think Rhea Ripley needs to be in that Money in the Bank. I think that the fans are going to get their pop, but not necessary.
Like, if Rhea's in there, then it's almost like that Becky Lynch situation where it's very difficult to not see Rhea Ripley win the Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
Right now, between Rhea Ripley and Roxanne Perez, the perfect candidate to win the Money in the Bank for me would be Roxanne Perez.
I agree with you. I feel like the only way that Rhea Ripley is going to get eliminated is through some sort of a distraction or somebody else within the matchup, but I think that I could see Roxanne Perez picking up that victory as well.
And then,
main event of the...
I was going to say, you also have Alexa Bliss in there too, so...
I can't buy Alexa Bliss right now. They haven't done anything for her for me to get behind. Don't get me wrong. Alexa Bliss, you know this too. Alexa Bliss has such a great history of being a champion within the WWE, but like they really haven't done all that much with her for us to be like, okay, she can actually hold the championship right now. I think they would have to build her up a little bit more than what she is.
But I don't know.
I
think the build up in that scenario would be holding on to the Money in the Bank briefcase.
Mm-hmm. True. But main event of the evening, Jey Uso picking up the victory over Braun Breaker, but it was by disqualification.
I don't think I'll ever get over Braun Breaker when he runs the ropes. The speed that he goes at those ropes, it's just unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
This was a hot main event. I had a feeling that we were going to see a DQ ending, though. And we saw Paul Heyman get involved. Seth Rollins came out eventually, caused the actual disqualification. And then Sami Zayn ran down to make the save. CM Punk ran down, and the freaking roof of that place blew off. That pop for CM Punk was absolutely insane.
Yeah, I like that delay with Sami Zayn too. Like, you still really don't know where Sami Zayn lies a bit.
I don't trust Sami Zayn.
You never know.
And then they all brawled, and Logan Paul showed up and knocked Jey Uso out.
Yeah.
And that sets
like
up
that.
Both of those matches for Saturday night's main event, which I'll talk about later.
Yeah, but CM Punk is so over.
Yeah, very much so.
And I'm so happy that he is as over as he is right now, because like everybody knows what happened with AEW, how much of a tarnish he had on his entire reputation at the time, especially backstage to the IWC and outside people that may not know the business, the inside stuff. So I'm really glad to see that he's having this full circle career stuff happening right now.
Yeah, I don't know if that's necessarily full circle, but perhaps
true. Not full circle, but you know what I mean. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Moving over to NXT, it kicked off with Sean Legacy, WWE ID prospect from WWE Evolve, picking up the victory over Javon Evans and Ashanti the Adonis. You had Ricky Saints on commentary. I didn't know why or how. I still don't really know why Ashanti was in this match. But this was a very fast-paced match. Javon and Sean Legacy absolutely cooked. And that's not taking anything away from Ashanti the Adonis, because a lot of people talk about how boring Ashanti the Adonis is. He literally went out there and was so impressive in this match, where it's like, where has this Ashanti been? I was very impressed with him in this match. That
I have to see. I
was going to say that Hurricane Rana from the top rope was absolutely insane. That was, I think, probably maybe the craziest spot, perhaps, I'll say.
I don't know. I think that this stuff I was really impressed with Sean Legacy.
Yeah, I mean, in that Battle Royal the other week, he was very impressive. And now that we get to see a smaller version of that with just two other opponents, jump on that train now.
Yeah, I never seen any work of his before, so I'm not familiar, but definitely incredible. And I loved his finisher.
Yeah, Ashanti we saw Ethan Page attack Ricky Saints, and then Javon Evans jumped out onto them. Ashanti went to take advantage of that. He missed a splash, and then Sean Legacy won with, like, do you say a burning hammer spinning neck breaker of sorts? Fantastic finish. That was a great finish.
Yeah. Next up, you had Sean Spears.
Ava, by the way, was furious with everybody, with Ethan Page and Ricky Saints. She said, even though Sean Legacy has the right to fight for a title match now with that North American Championship, it has to end between Ethan Page and Ricky Saints. So she made the match for next week, and we'll see that on NXT TV.
Yeah, next up you had Sean Spears pick up the victory over Josh Briggs. I think that, to me, this was expected.
But this was a surprising match because for me at least, Josh Briggs, I feel like, controlled most of the match.
Mm-hmm.
And he had
which is good. I mean, with Josh Briggs' size, I'm glad that he did have so much upper hand during and throughout the entire matchup.
And there were distractions all around. He had to take out Nico Vance. Izzy Dame got involved when Brooks Jensen was distracting the referee, and then off of Izzy, Sean Spears got the win off of that.
Yeah.
And then Josh Briggs, right after the match was done, attacked Sean Spears. Obviously, he's outnumbered. Hank and Tank make the save, and that sets up a 6-man tag for next week.
Yeah, that'll be good.
I like that he cut a promo beforehand talking to Inamura, saying, basically, I miss you, I hope you're watching, or something like that.
Yeah. Maybe I'll have to go find him.
Yeah. You might actually be able to.
Yeah. Next up, you had OTM picking the victory over Chase U. I think definitely a victory that OTM needs. We got to get them into the championship scene.
Well, I don't think... Well, yeah, because this is with them returning. I feel like this was like you couldn't have possibly expected Chase U to win. Mm-hmm. So, and not much really happened. They did do quite a few tag team moves. I feel like that might be the first time that we've seen the two of them as a team on TV. I'm not 100% sure on that. I could be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we'll look forward to more victories from OTM and maybe a victory from Chase U.
Chase U, I can't... Not yet. I need to focus on one tag team at a time because you already know that my focus on tag team division is so low where I can't recognize a good upcoming tag team unless I just focus on one.
Right. You're
who's
still stuck on aces and eights, so.
Exactly. The best ever. Best ever.
After that, we had the Miles Bourne and Obafemi final face-off before Battleground. Obafemi spoke about what Miles said the other week about who he's fighting for, and kind of said it was misleading. And he said that it's not a Disney movie, which Miles Bourne said that so many people have underestimated him, including coaches at the Performance Center. And he continues to prove all of them wrong. And I thought that was a good promo from Miles Bourne. And then Jasper Troy showed up, the winner of WWE LFG. And he attacked Obafemi after Miles left the ring.
Did not expect Jasper to show up right there.
He did say earlier that he's going to make an impact on that episode, it seems. So, but yeah, I wasn't expecting that at all. And Miles chased him off. He tried to help Obafemi up. Oba wasn't having it. He slapped his hand away.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll talk more about.
We'll see what happens with that.
I'll talk more about that in a moment. You had Lola Vice pick up the victory over Fallon Henley, which stemmed from a backstage segment where Lola, I think Lola was trying to get a title shot from Stephanie Vicaire, and Lola had said that JC and Fallon always seem to get in one another's ways. And in the match, JC was kind of, kind of trash talking Fallon. Kind of.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea where.
There's a bit.
I have no idea where Jasmine Nix is. She hasn't been mentioned in a few weeks. I don't know if she's injured or what, but.
Yeah, it's been a while.
But I thought this was a well-worked match. You saw JC get up on the apron, and Lola Vice threw Fallon into her, hit the spinning back fist to win the match, and I guess maybe become number one contender. I don't know how that's going to work. We haven't. Well, I guess
as
not
long as
yet,
it's not a
but,
triple threat.
Yeah, technically not yet, but we'll see. You had Kalani Jordan pick up the victory over Zarya. This was strength versus speed.
Good win.
I think
Kalani Jordan is... Huh?
I was going to say, I think my favorite spot from this match was that cannonball, where Kalani tried to
That was a cool spot.
She tried to lock Zarya in a sleeper, and Zarya had like a backpack cannonball on her. That was awesome. At one point, Sol Ruka tried to save Zarya, or did save Zarya, but then Kalani sent her into Zarya. Sol got up on the apron, I guess to maybe argue over that spot, and Zarya accidentally knocked her off the apron. That basically led to the end of the match right there.
Yeah. I thought that they did well with Zarya. I feel like with Zarya, you have to protect her still.
Yeah.
And I think they did. And Kalani Jordan is just so talented.
Yeah.
She's so talented. Next up, you had a rap video from Trick Williams.
Not a video. Live performance.
Huh?
Brother.
Oh, yeah. It started backstage, no?
It was still him live in living color going out there and rapping.
Yeah. It was all right.
Yeah, I don't have much to say. It was fine. The big meat and potatoes was the end of the night where Joe Hendry had his concert. Where I popped big time that he used footage from the haunted, what was it? The haunted open house or something from back in 2021. It was Trick and Carmelo Hayes versus Johnny Gargano and Dexter Lumis, which I don't even know if that was I don't remember it being a match. It was just like them going through the haunted house. But I thought that was funny because he made it look like Trick was running away from Joe Hendry. So that was funny. And Trick interrupted and he said the past is the past. He called Joe Hendry Average Joe and then knocked him down, and he went for the trick shot, and Joe Hendry kind of out of nowhere nailed him with that guitar. And then he hit the choke slam to end the show. Does that mean we're getting a new champion at Battleground?
It's very possible. You know,
Joe, unless they're doing something on TNA that we didn't see yet, but I don't know.
They're making a tough case for all of it, and it's definitely a lot of fun to see this crossover. It would be nice to see somebody in TNA or NXT hold the opposing championship.
Yeah.
That would be cool. I don't think that Joe Hendry's... I don't know. I don't want to say I can't see Joe Henry losing the championship, but I don't know what the next step would be if he did lose. I guess win it back,
yeah,
right?
I guess, yeah. He's been champion for 4 months already.
Yeah, I guess he could lose it to Trick Williams, build up TNA with Trick Williams, and then what? I guess lose it at another pay-per-view? No?
John Cena steps in? I don't know. Wins his 18th?
Maybe.
Even though he should already be 18. But yeah, so we have NXT, well, I guess technically at this point it's WWE Battleground taking place at the Yuengling Center in Tampa, Florida. We could start with Hank and Tank and Josh Briggs taking on the Culling. I completely forgot that this was taking place there and not at NXT next week. But I think
I'm gonna go with
it has to be Josh Briggs and Hank and Tank. It has to.
I guess with Briggs with them getting into the matchup, I'll go with Josh Briggs and Hank and Tank.
I think I picked that team more so because of the tag team champions rather than Josh Briggs in that situation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Very
true.
Stacks taking on Tony D'Angelo for that Don ship. This one has me worried, man.
You know what? It's been a long time coming. Put Stacks at the reign. I'm going Stacks.
I'm going to say Tony D'Angelo, and I hope we see the Mamalukes somehow. I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Do you think that we see Tony go up soon? It's been a long time now.
He's honestly probably like the last big name from NXT 2.0.
Right, he could technically go up and it would be okay.
If they have a spot for Tony, otherwise I don't want to see that. So, but I'm going to say Tony D'Angelo.
True. Next up, let's go to the NXT Women's North American Championship. Sol Ruca defending against Kalani Jordan.
That to me is a tough call too, but I'm going to say champion retains.
This is tough too. You know, you have Zarya involved and everything. I'm going to go with Sol Ruca. I think Kalani Jordan's on her. She could get pulled up at any moment too.
Yeah, I guess maybe she was a 2.0 also maybe. Well, she was kind of there before, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. For the NXT Women's Championship, you have Stephanie Vaquer taking on Jordan Grace. My fingers are crossed. You probably can't hear it, but I hope Stephanie Vaquer retains the championship.
I heard it. You know what? I'm going Jordan Grace. How long has it been for Stephanie Vaquer?
Not long enough. What do you mean?
I feel like it's been at least 2 months, no?
Stephanie won it in March at Madison Square Garden.
You know what? I'm going Jordan Grace. I think Jordan Grace does need a victory like this.
We have Worlds Collide coming up, so I don't know about I don't know. I can't. I don't know.
Because the thing is, like, Jordan Grace hasn't had that championship victory like Vaquer or Julia have had, and Jordan Grace is just as much of a star as the both of them, I feel. So I would say Jordan Grace picks up the victory, I think.
Well, I don't know.
Nah.
One can assume the main event of the evening
Uh-huh.
would be Trick Williams versus... which is the main event? Probably not that, right? I'm going to say Joe Hendry versus Trick Williams for the TNA World Championship. Going to say Joe Hendry.
I'm going to say Joe Hendry as well. I think Joe Hendry.
I wouldn't hate it if Trick
victory.
Williams won, but I don't know how they work stuff like that out. And then the other match that I would assume is the main event, Obafemi taking on Miles Bourne. I think it's Obafemi.
How long has this guy held the title for?
There's no way Miles Bourne... No offense to Miles Bourne, not to go exactly to what he was talking about in his promo. Not to underestimate him or anything, but I don't see...
How long?
That was New Year's Evil.
Yeah, it's been already over 133 days. You know what? I'm going Miles Bourne.
It would be a huge surprise, but I don't see that.
It would be huge. It would definitely be a huge surprise, but on the other hand, it would lead to Oba having a clear shot to come to the main roster.
Yeah, but if
he does,
there's Jasper Troy was there for a reason, so that's not happening yet.
True. I mean, Jasper Troy could definitely help create a distraction, but if Oba does win, he'll likely move in. He could move into the top 10 longest reigns of a NXT champion. So he can, probably, 2 months.
Probably will.
But that's if he held it for another 2.5 months.
I feel like we're gonna have to see Oba and Stephanie be the big champions at Worlds Collide. I don't even know if we'll see any titles on the line at all, but I don't know how that'll work.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with that. That's Battleground. Moving over to SmackDown. It opened up with Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre brawling backstage. Priest attacked McIntyre. And then they brawled later on again. That just further sets up their match for Saturday night's main event. Tiffany Stratton came out and she mentioned how she walked into Money in the Bank last year with people thinking that she was over her head, but now she's the women's champion and she's beaten some of the best. She addressed the future Money in the Bank winner and went on to warn them to say, if you cash in on me. But Alexa Bliss interrupted that. She introduced herself to Tiffany Stratton and said, you better hope that I don't win. And then Charlotte Flair came out and said that she's done everything except for winning the Money in the Bank. And when she wins, she's taking the title back and she's taking the spotlight, which Tiffany Stratton called her a hypocrite for how she talked to Tiffany Stratton about cashing in the Money in the Bank. And Tiffany Stratton ends up leaving after calling them vintage. And Julia came out, stared her down before her match. I think everything about that segment, with the exception of bits and pieces of what Charlotte was doing, I thought was great. And then you have the first match. Julia picked up the victory over Charlotte and Zelina Vega to qualify for the Money in the Bank. A bit of a slow start to the match, but it really picked up. I liked when Charlotte had Zelina Vega on her shoulders, and instead of doing a Doomsday Device move, she ends up Julia drop-kicked Charlotte, which triggers the electric chair drop on Zelina Vega. When Charlotte hit that moonsault on both of them, I could have 100% believed that was about to be the end. And I was getting ready for disappointment. But the match continued. Charlotte had Zelina Vega at the end of the match in the figure 8. And Julia hit the stomp to Charlotte's knee. And then she hit that Northern Lights bomb to pick up the win. So I'm very happy that Julia made it to the Money in the Bank. And then later on, Chelsea made fun of Zelina Vega for losing. Zelina Vega attacked her. Piper Niven attacked Zelina Vega. Mia Yim and B-Fab jumped in. And then Mia called for a match on SmackDown, which later on we saw Mia Yim and B-Fab pick up the victory over the Secret Service. Chelsea got up on the apron at one point. Zelina Vega took her out. The end of the match saw Mia Yim hit Eat Defeat, and B-Fab won with a nice spinning sit-out neck breaker. I thought that was a nice finish. And then we saw Ciampa pick up the victory over Chris Sabin. The match, this was good. I could have done without the outside interference from Johnny Gargano, though. But when Tommaso Ciampa faked a knee injury, Candice LeRae showed up. And she attacked Chris Sabin, and then Ciampa took advantage of that, hit the knee, and won the match. Candice on television, I'm all for. If you're using her for that spot to cheat, I'm all for that. I could have done without that Gargano spot beforehand. But I'm just happy to see Candice LeRae on TV because I don't even know the last time we saw her. I know she was supposed to have matching gear she posted, or somebody posted, for Nia Jax, the outfit that Nia Jax wore last week. And I thought they were a good team together. But they did away with that, and hopefully this is the rise of Candice LeRae again. You had a sit down with Legado del Fantasma, where Humberto told Santos Escobar that this was just another stupid pep talk. And Escobar was like, no, it's not. It's more than that. We're coming together for Worlds Collide. And then they announced that at Worlds Collide, Legado del Fantasma will be facing off against El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr., Psycho Clown, and Pagano. So I am absolutely pumped to see that match. That team has teamed before. I don't think it's a regular thing, though. I think the last time they maybe teamed together was maybe last year, and then prior to that was like maybe 2 years ago. So I don't think it's like a solid team that they are, but I'm pumped to see that match. It's on YouTube for some reason. I would have expected it to be on Peacock at least, but I'm looking forward. Now that we have all of that, well, not all of that. We have that one match announced. I'm very much so looking forward to more matches and seeing what else is announced for that. We had Jacob Fatu and Jeff Cobb pick up the victory over Phoenix and Jimmy Uso. Earlier, Jacob Fatu told Jeff Cobb that he doesn't trust him. I can't call him JC Mateo. That's just not happening. But Solo kept trying to get Jimmy Uso to, I guess, join back to the bloodline. And that wasn't happening. Phoenix in this match I thought was exciting to watch. As far as the match goes, not really something I needed to watch. It seems to happen every week on SmackDown that there's just like one match or so that doesn't need to be on right now. Not necessarily. Do I understand why they have the match? Not necessarily. There was the storyline aspect of Jimmy Uso and Solo, and then Solo and Jeff Cobb and Jacob Fatu. So I do understand it in that regard, but not necessary. And then Jeff Cobb won the match with the Tour of the Islands. You knew they weren't losing. So it's unfortunate that Phoenix is not in the same position where Penta is, maybe. You had R-Truth come out. He reiterated that John Cena, the version of John Cena that attacked him, is not his childhood hero. And he said the more power and fame that John Cena got, the more disconnected he became. And R-Truth said that if he wants to save pro wrestling, he's going to have to save John Cena. He doesn't want to put his hands on John Cena, but if he has to, he will. And then I popped of R-Truth ending the segment by saying, if Cena wins, we riot. I thought that was really funny. You had LA Knight pick up the victory over Shinsuke Nakamura and Aleister Black to qualify for the Money in the Bank. I want LA Knight to win the Money in the Bank, so I'm glad that he won. But I also wish that Aleister Black and Nakamura were in the Money in the Bank match. I wish certainly more so that Nakamura was not in the position that Nakamura is in right now. Because I felt once they had this new character that I thought we were going to get more from Nakamura. And unfortunately, that's just not the case. But like I said, I'm happy that LA Knight won that match. It started off with Aleister Black and Nakamura taking out Shinsuke Nakamura Did I say LA Knight? It started off with LA Knight and Aleister Black taking out Nakamura. I don't know if that's what I said or not. But I thought that was a nice aspect of the match. And then I liked the stuff that Nakamura and Aleister Black did together. The one-on-one stuff. Nakamura went for the Kinshasa at the end and got rocked with a Black Mass. And then LA Knight pushed Aleister Black out of the ring, pinned Nakamura, took advantage of that. Afterwards, Carmelo Hayes spoke to The Miz and said that I'm in the Money in the Bank qualifier next week. I'm going to win that match. And Miz ended up telling him that it was because of him. He said to Nick Aldis, put Carmelo Hayes in that qualifier and not me. And then he hyped Carmelo Hayes up, where Carmelo Hayes finally, I guess, agreed to listen to The Miz. So I have to assume we'll see Carmelo Hayes make it to the Money in the Bank match. The main event saw the Street Profits take on Fraxium. Ended in a no contest, which I'll get to. Fraxium had a brand new theme song, which I did not think sucked. I think it's very catchy. Almost reminded me of a Limp Bizkit sort of track of sorts. The internet didn't quite feel the same way as me as far as that theme song goes. I think WWE should get Limp Bizkit to do it. I think that's a pretty good theme song. But the match, I thought was very entertaining. I like, later on in the match, the Street Profits thought that they had Nathan Frazer out of the match, and they hit the Doomsday Blockbuster, only to have Nathan Frazer pop up on the apron, hit that springboard to break up the pin. Axiom hit the Spanish Fly on Dawkins. Nathan Frazer hit the Phoenix Splash. Montez Ford broke that up. And then as Ford broke it up, Axiom hit him with the Golden Ratio. I thought that was great. And then the weight ran down. Motor City Machine Guns ran down. They brawled. Montez Ford took them out. Nathan Frazer missed a Phoenix Splash, and there was like 1 minute of SmackDown left at this point. Dawkins ends up hitting the spine buster on him, and he goes to tag in Montez Ford. The power goes out. The Wyatt Six finally back on TV. They returned on Bray Wyatt's birthday, and they took all the teams out. And at the end, they had all the Fireflies going, and Uncle Howdy, they had a cake for Bray Wyatt, and Uncle Howdy blew out a candle for Bray. So it's awesome to see the Wyatt Six back. That was a very, very touching way to close SmackDown on Bray Wyatt's birthday. So I'm happy to see that. Maybe we'll see Alexa Bliss with cross paths, I should say, with Wyatt Six. Moving over to Saturday night's main event taking place at the Yuengling Center in Tampa, Florida. You have Jey Uso versus Logan Paul for the World Heavyweight Championship. I should probably end with this match, but I'm going to go with Jey Uso. They added Zelina Vega versus Chelsea Green for the Women's United States Championship. I think Vega has to retain that championship there. Steel cage match, Drew McIntyre taking on Damian Priest. I don't know. Like I said, I wish there were weapons involved in this match outside of it just being a cage. But I think I'm going to say Damian Priest takes this one. You have a tag team match, CM Punk and Sami Zayn versus Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker. I think Sami Zayn and CM Punk are going to lose, but I still, like I said earlier, I don't trust Sami Zayn. It feels like Sami Zayn is going to be the reason why they lose, and it sets up Sami joining Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker with Paul Heyman. And then you have John Cena, for the first time since 2011, taking on R-Truth. I thought for sure the title was on the line. That, I spoke very much so like the title was on the line the other week. Now that I know that it's not, how do you not have R-Truth win this match? And then you could literally do the finish where he thinks he won the WWE Championship, like Dusty Rhodes at Madison Square Garden. You could literally have that. You could have R-Truth think he won the title. So maybe they do that. Maybe John Cena squashes him in like a minute. Who knows? Hopefully not. So that's Saturday night's main event. Going to take a quick little break, and I'll be right back here on Markin Out.
This is Josh Briggs, and you're listening to Marking Out.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Markin Out episode 746. Moving back to AEW Collision from last week. It kicked off with Megan Bayne picking up the victory over Anna Jay, which you knew Anna Jay wasn't winning this match. Penelope Ford got involved, which led to Harley Cameron also getting involved. I guess accidentally distracting the referee, so Penelope Ford was able to take advantage of that to cheat. Anna Jay eventually took her out. Outside of those spots, I feel like the match was missing something. I guess it was kind of surprising to see Anna Jay counter that first F5, though. But I don't know what was missing. Something was missing. I wanted more from this match. You had Kyle Fletcher pick up the victory over AR Fox. Meaningless. AR Fox gets 0 wins in AEW. If you're getting a victory over him, it's meaningless. You had Bandito, Brody King, and Ishii pick up the victory over the Don Callis family. This random booking of Bandito is awful for me. The random booking of Brody King is awful. I think the biggest shock of this was Trent and Rocky actually now going as RPG Vice and not Roppongi Vice. I just thought it was a thing that Tony Schiavone messed up a few weeks ago. Also, given the way that the face team has been treated, it was quite the shocking victory for them. Archer beat them down afterwards, and the Outrunners made the save. I'll put a pin in that. Mike Bailey picked up the victory over Blake Christian. This is rinse and repeat AR Fox match over and over again. Neither of them win. Who cares? Like, this isn't AEW Dark. They're the winners winning. Your record means nothing in AEW. Unless they mention it during your entrance. You don't get titles anymore. There's nothing based on rankings here. These wins are meaningless victories. How does this set up Mike Bailey versus Okada? I don't get it. And he challenged Okada to come out. Okada did, and then LFI attacked Speedball. Which still, there's no Black Taurus. You had the Learning Tree pick up the victory over Gates of Agony in a Chicago street fight. I thought for sure, with the way that everything's been booked lately, I thought for sure Gates of Agony was winning this one. And I don't think they built this matchup enough for this to have been a street fight. They're ultimately two teams that I don't think anybody cares about. They've just been brawling for a few weeks. Not much else. The most significant thing is that they've lost to the Hurt Business, both teams. And as stale as Jericho has been, I honestly think that they suffered without Chris Jericho being there. Even Gates of Agony, if you were going to have a feud with them, Jericho not being there, I think is a huge catalyst of why should we care about this feud? You had a tribute to Steve Mongo McMichael. I thought that was a nice segment for them to have. They had his widow. They had Dean Malenko. They had Ric Flair. It's unfortunate that he had passed away. They were in Chicago. They were doing that tribute. I thought that was great. And then the show cut off. They switched to Black Adam, and I couldn't find it on Max. I didn't see the rest of the show. Sons of Texas beat Crew to become number one contenders, and then Powerhouse Hobbs beat Wheeler Yuta. On AEW Dynamite, you had Hangman and Will Ospreay face off in their final confrontation before the final match at Double or Nothing. Will Ospreay sent security off because he said they're not going to be brawling, which I thought was going to lead to the Don Callis family attacking them. That wasn't the case. He brought Hangman a beer. Hangman didn't seem to really care for that. I think the best part of this segment was ultimately a fan yelling, "You're wasting TV time." Will Ospreay said that he wants this match to be the main event. They both said that the reason why they think they need to win this match, both of them came out looking pathetic. I don't know, a lot of people were like, "Oh my God, this was the greatest segment ever." Both of them sounded absolutely pathetic. Hangman needs to win the championship. needs to win the Owen Hart first and then win the championship because his kid and his wife don't look at him the same without being a champion. That, I just thought it was so badly, poorly written, poorly delivered. And it went forever. It went freaking forever. And to open up Dynamite and go into a match with John Moxley and the Young Bucks, I could not have cared less about that match. The Ops and Swerve beat them. It's been weeks since Swerve stated that he's hunting the Young Bucks. This was just a normal wrestling match. There was no hunting. The Death Riders attacked afterwards. Shibata cleared house. Somehow. Marina Shafir took him out. Willow Nightingale got involved. Kenny Omega got involved. Kenny went for the one-winged angel off of the apron through a table to Matt Jackson, and then the heels made the save. I assume they will do that spot on the pay-per-view, but who knows? We'll put a pin in that. Yet MJF's contract signing, where MVP and MJF both made fun of the talent they were in, and I could swear that the Hurt Business were faces, but I guess not. There was some hesitation for Lashley to sign the contract, but he finally signed it. And then Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara showed up, and Dustin warned MVP of MJF being a snake. He said, "Bet on the day one guys," referring to him and Sammy Guevara. Don't underestimate them, basically. You had Ricochet pick up the victory over Anthony Bowens. This was a match that Anthony Bowens needed to win. Ricochet actually has wins in the company, so a victory over Ricochet would have meant something. Billy Gunn on the outside, he tossed Ricochet into the ring. The referee saw it, did nothing about it. That was dumb. And then later on, behind the referee's back, Ricochet jabbed Anthony Bowens in the head with the scissors. He hit the spirit gun to get the victory. I don't think Anthony Bowens should have ever been put in a position where he's losing to Ricochet like that. Because Anthony Bowens, you have this brand new character, the 5-tool player, comes back, you're start and stop, and he's beating people that aren't getting victories in AEW. So how does that build up Anthony Bowens? And then you have him face Ricochet when it comes time to facing somebody who actually has victories in AEW. You have him lose. Mark Briscoe came out afterwards, put Ricochet on a stretcher, and when he went for the Froggy Bow, Ricochet escaped. That just hypes up their match at Double or Nothing. You had Mercedes Moné and Jamie Hayter, their final face-off before the Owen Tournament Finals. Jamie Hayter said that this is more than just a title shot to her. It's about not being forgotten. Keep in mind that she returned on a pre-show and hasn't really done anything to where she was on the same level before her injury. Mercedes said that it's more than just winning, it's about her legacy. This came to blows after Jamie Hayter brought up Mercedes losing the New Japan Strong Women's Championship, and Jamie Hayter ended up hitting Haterade. You had Mina Shirakawa pick up the victory over Julia Hart. First of all, I don't know how this ended up as the main event, but I'm not about to complain about the women being put in that spotlight. It just didn't seem like that sort of match that would close the show, even though they didn't actually close the show. But Tony Storm did commentary. I wish more was put into the match. I wish it was longer. I wish that it wasn't obvious that Mina Shirakawa was beating Julia Hart. Julia's been floating around since her return, and she needs big wins. And Mina Shirakawa won with the quick roll-up, which I don't hate quick roll-up finishes, but I wanted more from this match. Yet Julia attacked her afterwards. Mina Shirakawa ends up locking her in the figure 4. Sky Blue attacked Mina Shirakawa. Tony Storm attacked Sky Blue. And then Mina Shirakawa and Tony Storm took out Julia. They got into a tug of war over the championship, and then they started fighting. I think if we had one more week before Double or Nothing, we would have seen a tag team match, and that would have been completely fine. They cut to the Bucks leaving, and they made fun of it being the end of the night, and Samoa Joe not keeping his promise of getting their hands on them. And then out of nowhere, wouldn't you know, Joe and Hobbs shows up, starts beating them up, everyone brawled. I thought it was an awful segment. Awful way to close the show. Honestly, this was a bad episode. After about 5 minutes of brawling, they had Gabe Kidd reappear. Someone who everyone thought was going to be in the match. He bops Joe with a briefcase, and that's his reintroduction. So, and then you move on to Collision, Special Time, FTR, Daniel Garcia, Nigel McGuinness contract signing. I think this was unfortunately boring. When AEW does segments like this, I think they go way too long. FTR tried to talk Daniel Garcia and Nigel McGuinness out of the actual match. Daniel Garcia said that he's doing this for everyone that they took out. And it'll be a fight on Sunday. Nigel said that he wants a guarantee from FTR for whatever happens in the match, whether they win, whether they lose. They don't want FTR to touch Tony Schiavone. They don't want FTR to touch him ever again. They don't want him to look at them even. And then this came to blows. I get it, but this was too long. The Don Callis family picked up the victory over Bandito and the Outrunners. It's just sad to see Bandito stuck in matches like this. He's the Ring of Honor champion. He's done nothing. He's done literally nothing. I think he had one match for that championship, and that was it. And then he's just been trios. He's almost like Adam Cole, except Adam Cole's out there doing commentary, and that's it. You had Mercedes Moné pick up the victory over Reina Isis to retain the championship. They played some clips for Isis, but I feel like they could have used a video package. She was impressive in the match. But there's no way Mercedes was losing this. She was very surprisingly very over in this match also. I don't know if Reina was supposed to be heel or face or what, but I enjoy, for what this match was, I enjoyed it. You had Kyle Fletcher pick up the victory over Jay Lethal. This again, I don't know how this hypes up the pay-per-view. Prior to this match being booked, neither of them were on this pay-per-view. The last singles match that Jay Lethal has is 2023. The last victory. It's not impressive in 2025 to beat Jay Lethal. And you could have matches that are entertaining, but when the story gets added in, it's just not there. And then afterwards, you had Takeshita, Josh Alexander, and Kyle Fletcher beat Jay Lethal down. Adam Cole got up. Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly came out. They left. And there was no sign of Jeff Jarrett. What happened to Jeff Jarrett? What happened to Triple J? What happened to that group? Jeff Jarrett was chasing his final world title and then just disappeared from TV. That leads into Paragon picking up the victory over Grizzled Young Veterans. Very nice to see the Grizzled Young Veterans wrestling again. For some reason, it's been over 7 months. I don't know if either of them were injured or what, but I thought they were going to go to AEW and literally change the game. Literally thought they were going to be tag team champions, be on TV weekly. It's been 7 months. The match I thought was very good. Kyle O'Reilly had Gibson locked in a chokehold, while Roderick Strong ends up pinning James Drake to get that victory. And then after that, that sets up a match. Was it after that, or was it after? It might have been the other match. Josh Alexander beat AR Fox, which Collision was really ultimately the Don Callis show. But this was pointless. It was just another win for Fletcher, which does nothing. Like I said before, rankings do nothing. There's no rankings. AR Fox has 0 wins recently. But then I think after this match, it was set up for the trios match. You had Mascara Dorada, Mystico, and Templario pick up the victory over Los Depredadores. You could have heard a pin drop when all of them made their way out to the ring. The heels went to leave the match. They made their way back to the match. I think the match was fine. I really genuinely enjoy seeing matches like this on TV, but I need storyline. I need reasons as to why this match was happening. They're in New Mexico. The fans, they were chanting Lucha during the match, but the entrances, they could not care less. And then the main event, doing back-to-back matches like this, I thought was an odd choice. But you had Commander and Mike Bailey pick up the victory over LFI. Dralistico attacked Commander and Speedball from behind before the match started. And also, granted, this was slower than the previous match. Parts of it were similar to it. But people actually cared about the people in this match. So that, I think, is a positive note from it. Afterwards, you had Okada come out. Speedball ends up kicking Okada and jumping out onto him after Okada refused a handshake. And he walked away with the championship. Will that happen at the pay-per-view? No. But you have AEW Double or Nothing taking place in Glendale, Arizona, the Desert Diamond Arena. I don't know if they're going to add any other matches, but you have Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford taking on Anna Jay and Harley Cameron. I think it's Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford. Jamie Hayter and Mercedes Moné for the finals of the Owen Hart Foundation Cup. This is a very tough one to call. I feel like Jamie Hayter's winning, but I really hope Mercedes Moné wins. So I'm going to say Mercedes. Probably incorrect there, but I have my fingers crossed that she wins. You have the Hurt Syndicate versus the Sons of Texas for the AEW World Tag Team Champions. I think it's ridiculous that that's the match, given that Dustin is the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions, Ring of Honor Trios Tag Team Champions, and he's going for the AEW World Tag Team Champions. It's ridiculous. The other titles, are they getting defended? I don't know about that. But the Hurt Syndicate, I'm firm on that. I think they're going to pick up that victory. For the AEW Women's Championship, you have Timeless Toni Storm probably picking up the victory over Mina Shirakawa. That's my choice. I'm going with Toni Storm. You have FTR picking up the victory over Daniel Garcia and Nigel McGuinness, probably. Mark Briscoe versus Ricochet in a stretcher match. I think it's Ricochet. Does Mark Briscoe get victories here and there? But come on. Anarchy in the Arena. First time, I think there's 7 people on a team. You got Kenny Omega, Swerve, Willow, The Ops, taking on the Death Riders and the Young Bucks. I think it's going to be the Death Riders and the Young Bucks. AEW Continental Championship on the line. Kazuchika Okada taking on Speedball Mike Bailey. Okada. Trios match, Paragon versus the Don Callis family. I think Paragon's set up to win this match. And then the Owen Hart Foundation Tournament Finals. This is the main event. The winner earns that AEW Championship match at All In. Hangman versus Will Ospreay. And as much as I want Hangman to win this match, Will Ospreay has been set up from the start, even before this tournament, to win the tournament. So I'm going to pick Will Ospreay. My fingers are crossed that it's not Will Ospreay. I really hope Adam Page wins it. In his promo, he spoke about how basically for the past 2 years, he hasn't really won anything. He was the runner-up last year. I think it would be good to have him win this match. So I don't know if that's going to happen, but we'll see the results. And that is Double or Nothing. Hey, Brennan, got any shout-outs?
Listen to Brandon's shout-outs, because when there's shout-outs, there's honey.
The first shout-out goes to WWE LFG. We spoke about it earlier a little bit, but they aired the season finale this week. And like I said the last time, when the show first premiered, this was a very entertaining show. They did a backstage segment on NXT last week to hype it up, which was weird because it was taped back in March when they ran the Garden. But Tyra May Steele and, like we said, Jasper Troy were the winners. We know that It's returning apparently in June, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think that's officially announced, but I think that's
a
what
quick
they put out.
turnaround.
Yeah, I'm almost certain there was an interview with Mickey James that said that they already signed on for a ton more seasons.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a very entertaining, like a combination of The Voice, but not The Voice, and then a combination of Tough Enough. It was like a reworked version of Tough Enough where everyone is signed with WWE already, but you get that NXT TV contract. So now we'll see.
And that's huge.
Yeah, now we'll see Tyra May Steele and Jasper Troy on TV more. Even back when she won at the Olympics, the biggest match that anybody could possibly have hoped to have seen between her and somebody else in WWE was Bianca Belair. So we have probably a few more years before we get to see that.
Yeah, we got a few more years, but she has so much talent, and I feel like a lot of it has to do with her charisma.
Yeah.
So much charisma.
And a lot of people were saying that she probably shouldn't have won, but I feel like both winners were fine choices.
Yeah, and it's not like these other people that didn't win aren't going to be offered opportunities with WWE.
Yeah, I'm almost certain they said that the runner-ups are already on season 2.
Yeah, it would be interesting if they had the runner-ups pair up and just full-blown attack the winners at some point.
Which is possible, but I don't necessarily see that happening.
Me neither.
I will say it was annoying that when Zena Sterling posted about how she was only 21 years old wrestling at Madison Square Garden, people were like, that's not Madison Square Garden, that's a theater at Madison Square. I'm like, at Madison Square Garden. It's Madison Square Garden. You're not going to try to convince me, someone who's been going to Madison Square Garden his whole life, somebody that holds MSG with such high respect, high regards, you're not convincing me that she didn't perform at Madison Square Garden.
Don't do that to Brandon.
So I thought, and it's just like, I feel like that's really rude to try to like cut somebody down and say like, oh, that's not MSG. There's no history there.
There's actually a lot of history
There's
there.
tons of history at that theater. So, yeah, so that's one of my shout-outs. My next shout-out's going to Saturday Night Live because the 50th season officially wrapped this past Saturday, technically Sunday. Best host might have definitely been Marty Short. I think so. And when I found out that this was going to be the 50th season, knowing how popular Hacks is, I fully expected Hannah Einbinder to be a host, given that her mom, Lorraine Newman, was an original cast member, which she did end up appearing in that season premiere when Gene Smart hosted. But I enjoyed all of this, and I keep saying, if you haven't watched Hacks, by the way, just watch it. It's out HBO, it's out on Max. But the 50th anniversary specials I thought were great. I think the biggest miss from this season was not having anyone from WWE involved. Not to promote.
I don't understand.
Like you're on the same network, not to promote WrestleMania, not to promote Saturday night's main event.
It should be a thing where, like, automatically there's at least one wrestling appearance per season.
Yeah, I mean that's a huge fail to me. Also,
I don't know. SNL has been really hit or miss at times for me, but I feel like they've had a few good skits happening more often than I feel like the previous seasons. I thought that this was a decent season.
I think
when's the next season going to start?
That starts September. It's September to May.
Gotcha.
I think Jane Wickline is maybe one of the worst cast members of all time.
Oh, that I would definitely agree with.
A lot of people say she's a Nepo hire, and I really hate when people...
I could agree.
I hate when people use that, but with her, I honestly can't tell how she's on Saturday Night Live. Outside of that, I don't understand it. 3 of the absolute worst parts of this season were her. And then you have
There
so
are
many
a few other
people
people
that
that
I read these comments that people are like putting her over. Oh, our queen, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, in what world? I just, what's funny about this? Maybe I'm just at that age. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I agree with you.
But what were you going to go
I agree with you. I
SNL
think that
cast members? You freak.
Huh?
I said, what were you about to trash SNL cast members?
Yes. That other person, Sarah.
I like Sarah Sherman. I'm a fan of hers.
I don't know. It's just not my humor. I'm not a fan of hers.
I like Sarah.
Some things I like. Some things I'm like, not that good.
Well, I also wanted to mention the unfortunate passing of George Wendt. He passed away this week at the age of 76. Predominantly known for his absolutely iconic role as Norm Peterson on Cheers, which honestly,
Norm,
thank God for Nick at Night airing reruns of that show, because it's truly one of the best shows of all time. He was in so many movies and TV shows. He was in Fletch, The Little Rascals, recently Sandy Wexler. He was in Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Clipped was a series I enjoyed. I think that was on TBS. And also Saturday Night Live. He hosted twice, but probably his most famous thing from SNL was the Bill Swirsky Superfan sketches, where he was Bill, and it's truly one of the most famous sketches of all time from SNL, where it's just them doing Chicago bits, the Bears. Like you had to have heard that. You have to know that skit. And,
yeah, that's a classic.
And if you've somehow never watched Cheers, the full series is out on Paramount Plus. Somehow not Peacock, but I highly suggest going out and watching Cheers if you've never done that. You and I have both been to Cheers in Boston. I've been to the one in Faneuil Hall. I've been to the actual Cheers. So it's a shame. I would have liked to have met him. Never got that opportunity to.
Yeah, very unfortunate, and that TV show is just so incredible.
Yeah. Like literally every single time he would go in,
it just doesn't get old.
Every time he would come into the bar and they'd have like those one-liners after everyone says hello to him. It's just like, it's perfect comedy.
It really is. And something I think is even more important and really cool is that obviously, Norm, beer drinker and everything like that. He never drove home drunk. That was actually a big part of the TV show, was they made it an actual conscious effort that, especially with Norm, that he never made a reference or never said anything about driving home. He always walked home or got a ride home or something like that, but after drinking at the bar, he never actually drove home.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
I just watched...
legendary show.
I watched him on Conan O'Brien. They were doing a Christmas bit where George invited his whole family and they did like a Christmas dinner or Thanksgiving dinner. I'm not sure which one it was. But Jason Sudeikis is his nephew. So
I saw this.
Jason was part of that, and it's cool because he's such a big part of SNL history, and Sudeikis goes on to be a big part of SNL history too, as a cast member. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was really cool. My last shout out goes to Nona's, which just came out the other week on Netflix. It's based on the real life. It's a Staten Island restaurant owner. And we see how he puts everything that he has into opening this restaurant to honor his mother. And the actual chefs that he hired were real grandmothers that he invited to cook in the restaurant. He put out an ad in the paper in Staten Island or whatever. And it's still a working restaurant, I believe, today. It stars Vince Vaughn, Susan Sarandon, Lorraine Bracco, Talia Shire, Brenda Vaccaro, Linda Cardellini's in it, Joe Manganiello, Drea Di Matteo's in it, Michael Rispoli and Campbell Scott also appear in it as well. But it just really honestly made me want to go out and go to Italy and cook pasta again. Or not again for first time, but cooked pasta again.
I was gonna say
no. The again was cooked pasta again from scratch. After I watched the two different seasons of Aziz Ansari's Master of None, I went out and made pasta from scratch. But I'm not about to make that mistake again. Not with by hand. I can't do that by hand again. So, which they made it look so easy in the movie, but my hands don't work like that.
Yeah,
So,
it sounds difficult.
I would say check it out. The reviews are not so great, but I liked it.
Be your own judge.
Yeah, so those are my shout-outs. Now it's time for
Mark Out Moment of the Week.
That is right, our Mark Out Moment of the Week. You know, after the New York Knicks beat the Celtics to advance to the Eastern Conference Finals, ESPN put up a post that was in the style of WrestleMania 17 featuring Jalen Brunson and Tyrese Halliburton.
I saw a bunch of people tweeting that.
Well, ESPN actually did that. Some other people were putting out like actual My Way videos, which I thought was funny.
Yeah.
But I thought it was cool, like, that ESPN is out there posting WrestleMania 17 content with the two of them. Both of them previously featured on SmackDown. Jalen Brunson...
Top's even putting out a card.
Yeah. Jalen Brunson is most likely appearing in 2K25 as well. We had Tyrese Halliburton on Monday Night Raw, and they announced that he's going to be in the second DLC pack, so... It's likely that the other people from the leaked list will, in fact, be Brunson and Shaquille O'Neal. That's
so weird.
That's the pack with Great Khali and Abyss, so I know a lot of people are about to hit a bunch of black hole slams on Tyrese Halliburton there. So that comes out basically a month from when you're listening to this.
Yeah, that's definitely a fact. Marked out for that. Marked out for the Topps card that they're going to have come out. You can purchase of Halliburton and Brunson.
You probably got three of them.
Definitely.
Already, right?
Oh no. I only went with the two. No. Marked out for that. Let's see. Anything else you mark out for?
Yeah, the WWE Vault again releasing some unseen footage of Andre the Giant, including footage of him with Giant Bubba inside of a WWF ring. And I've seen a picture of it before, but I've never actually seen the segment. And you had both of them in the ring together. Demolition interrupted. It sets up their match that they had in Japan together. And it's funny because people don't think, like, when that footage was shown off, and I've seen this one every single time the picture comes up every now and then, people are like, oh my God, Giant Baba in a WWE ring, which it is shocking to see. But people don't realize that he's had a few matches way back in the 60s and 70s for WWF. It's not like completely out of the ordinary to see Giant Baba in a WWF ring. So, but it was a cool segment to see. It was
cool to see the clip of, just staying on the clips of Andre Yokozuna.
Yeah.
That was a very cool clip to see. I mean, to me, it's just such a mark-out moment to think that Andre actually was in the ring competing against Yokozuna.
But that wasn't, that was, I think that was in Mexico. I don't think WWE was clearing Andre at that time, so he did Mexico. I could be wrong on that, but I'm almost certain that's what it was. And then also, speaking of Mexico, the WWE Espanol Twitter account posted a quick 40-second interview with Psycho Clown, which, to me, that's still, like, really crazy to see, but I really, really hope that we get a lot of AAA influence in WWE 2K26. I'm really pumped to see him at Worlds Collide. So that was really cool. Yeah, I assume you have no more other mark out moments, right?
No, nothing else coming to mind.
Well, thank you so much for listening to Markin Out episode 746. You can follow us on Twitter at Markin Out, at BTTG161 on all platforms. Chris Sweendog, CM Sweeney85, David PTDPT, Facebook.com/Markin Out, YouTube and Instagram are Markin Out 11, ProWrestlingTees.com/Markin Out if you'd like to support us and buy some merch. At Markin Out on TikTok. You can check us out, rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, iHeartRadio, YouTube, markinout.com, and we wish you the best of luck
Best of
in
luck
your
in your
future
future
endeavors.